This Friday afternoon. Now, let's bring you some news from the political sphere. The hotly contested ANC's Northwest Provincial Elective Conference set to kick off today. It was postponed several times due to branch disputes. The Northwest has been operating with an interim structure since its provincial executive committee led by the former Premier Supra Mahumapelo was dissolved in 2018. Now, according to the ANC's interim provincial committee, the conference is on track. Well, let's find out if this is indeed the case. Let's go live now to Pule Letshwiti-Jones, who's on the ground following the developments of this ANC's Northwest Provincial Conference. Are things on track, Pule? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Britain. Well, it seems like things are quite well on track, particularly because in the morning we saw it's just a bit of delays that were being encountered by the provincial conference here. In the morning, registrations took place. Right now, registrations are still taking place, but there was also a steering committee meeting that convened to look into some of these matters here. But I spoke earlier on to one of the contenders, Nono Malloy, to just get some bit of insight as to how he anticipates going into this conference being challenged. He's one contender who still has some bit of a dark cloud over him in relation to a culpable homicide case which stems from 2018. We saw some members from the biggest region in the province, Bojanala district, actually writing letters to the national leadership of the ANC requesting that he step aside. But of course, Mr. Malloy is saying that he will only step aside if requested to do so. I'm now speaking to one of the contenders here as well, who is Motlalepula, who is the MEC of Finance in the government capacity, but also who sits in the RPC in the ANC here. She's going to be telling us about how she feels, and most importantly, having been backed up by one of the biggest regions in the province, which also gives them more numbers to contend in the position vying for chairperson in the province. Motlalepula, thank you very much for joining us. Now, I think what's important here is that the provincial conference is finally underway. You were sitting on that steering committee meeting earlier on. Have you ironed out some of the issues which could challenge the provincial conference?
Look, the issues of the steering committee is not for me. I was presenting there. But I think from an IPC side, I think we are geared up for the conference.
And as it stands, you've been backed up by one of the biggest regions in the province, the Bojanala district. How do you feel right now about that? Does that give you a bit of an advantage?
Yes, it does give me a lot of advantage because remember, Bojanala is the largest region. So if you are being backed up by the Bojanala region, actually it does give that determination that you will finally emerge as part of the outcomes of the conference.
At the policy conference, I had a chat with you. We spoke about economic development and transformation in this province. This is one province that has seen a lot of challenges in terms of service delivery and, most importantly, unemployment rate also skyrocketing. What are some of the plans you think could be put in place to revive the administration in this province and ensure that people have a bit of confidence in the ANC once again?
Look, the provincial growth and development strategy for the province is still critical. It's central to growth and development in the province. And of course, we have the district development model, like I said in the last engagement with you, that the district development model must be able, as it's inculcated, it needs to be infused in a form of your strategy for growth and development, must speak to that, whereby also your private sector engagement, participation within the DDM model must be able to be strengthened so that it can be able to reposition each district with its own competitive advantages, across the province, because each region has its competitive advantage in terms of growth and development. So through a provincial growth and development strategy, where you get the district development model being more implemented and more actually customized per region, and it can be able to be as part of the building blocks in the provincial growth and development strategy. It can be able to ignite economic activities in various regions in line with its competitive advantages.
You're up against some of the toughest contenders here, including former ANC MP Nono Malloy, Premier Bushimap, and of course, once we're hearing other rumours that Supra may just emerge as well. There's of course also Kinete Mosenegi as well coming in there. What makes you think you're the best candidate for this position?
Look, the branches of the ANC are the ones that will decide who's the best candidate for the position. I think in terms of the process of the African National Congress, we are nominated by branches to be candidates, and now that we are where we are in terms, so on the eve of the conference, as we start tomorrow, as nominations gets finalized and we are put on the ballot, and then the candidates, the delegates will actually vote for their preferred candidate that they believe that can be able to take the African National Congress forward, and they believe that they can be able to renew, that person should be able to renew, rebuild and unite members of the African National Congress. And of course, in going to elections next year, this should be the face of the elections, should be able to mobilize even communities to be able to restore that confidence that ANC is the leader of society and ANC can continue to govern in the Northwest.
Do you believe in support the step-aside rule?
Yes, I agree to the step-aside rule. And the step-aside rule, what is also important, we need to look at it that it must not be selective. We must make sure that it cuts across everybody that has to be subjected to that, must be able to comply with the step-aside rule.
Thank you very much for joining us on eNCA. That's one of the contenders vying for the chairperson position in the Northwest, Bradan. And what I can tell you is that at 3:30, we will of course be also speaking to one of the contenders there, being in his capacity of government, the Premier, Bushi Mape, who also is contending for the position. Although having received a lot of backlash and criticism about his age, many are saying it's high time that he gives others a chance. But he did say exclusively previously to us that if nominated by branches, he will contend. So we'll be chatting to him at 3:30 later on today.
Thank you very much. Pule Letshwiti-Jones there, out from the Northwest.